So I'm sure everyone knows by now and has heard by now, especially if you're a wrestling fan, all the news surrounding Paige and the photos and videos that were leaked of her, Brad Maddox, and Xavier Woods. And I just wanted to give my thoughts and opinions on the whole situation. Now, before I even get going on this, I want to say that I did see the videos and photos, but it was strictly for research purposes only. I swear that's the truth. At first, when I heard about this whole situation, I was thinking to myself, probably Paige is going to get fired. Xavier Woods would probably be let go, and that would be the end of the New Day. And that's because, the whole PG thing that WWE is trying to put out there. But then, I thought about it more, and I think if they fire anyone, it's just going to make them look bad, the WWE. Because let's face it, they didn't put this stuff out there. No, Xavier Woods, Paige, and Brad Maddox, none of those three people put this stuff out there. Someone hacked into Paige's account and leaked the stuff online. So you really can't blame those three people for that happening. And let's face it, all three of these people, they're consenting adults doing adult things behind closed doors in privacy. So what they want to do in privacy, that's their business. And then I was thinking too, Seth Rollins, he had some nude photos leaked online not too long ago, and nothing happened to him. He was never fired. So I don't think, Paige or Xavier Woods, it should be fired for this. But I will say the one thing that, kind of disturbs me a little bit about this whole situation is there are some photos involving the NXT women's title. Now, I'm not going to go into detail about these photos. If you want to do your own research, that's your choice, that's your decision. But I will say, there's two issues I have with these photos involving the NXT women's title. One, that's WWE's property. That's company property. They own that title belt. And what they did involving that belt is, highly inappropriate and disrespectful, not only to the belt, but for the company that they work for. So that alone, that's, a separate issue. But more importantly than that, there's a health issue involving that whole situation, because there's people who had to touch that belt after that. And there's people, people win title belts, what do? They hug the belt, they kiss it, and everything else. And I know Paige, I have no doubts in my mind that she cleaned that title belt after that picture was taken. I have no doubts about that, but it's still sick, and it's still gross, and it's a health issue. So I believe there should be some kind of punishment. I don't know what it should be. Do I think she should be fired? I don't know. I don't know what the appropriate punishment would be for doing that to the NXT title. I have no idea. And what they did to that title was far worse than what Medusa Michelli did to the Women's Championship when she went to WCW Nitro and threw the title in the garbage. This is far worse than that by a long shot. Then I was thinking too, what if Paige, she doesn't get fired and she shows back up to wrestle on WWE TV. It got me thinking about the whole Lita and Matt Hardy situation from a long time ago. Lita was dating Matt Hardy. She cheated on him and started dating Edge. And after that, every time Edge was wrestling and Lita would be at ringside, the crowds would just be ruthless and brutal towards Lita. They'd be chanting stuff. They'd be calling her a whore and a slut and everything else. And I often wondered if that, played a part in Lita retiring, because I'm sure she just got sick of it, night after night. These crowds, they just would not let it go. They were just brutal towards her. Now, I know she's been on, TV within the last few years, appearances here and there, Lita has, and they don't do that anymore, luckily for her. But I just imagine, Paige shows back up, it's going to be 100 times worse for her, because there's actual video, out there for people to see. So I could imagine her, maybe even asking the WWE for her release. She could just come right out and say, I'm extremely embarrassed. My family's embarrassed. I don't think I can show my face on TV right now, or go out there in front of a WWE crowd and knowing how they are, how they can be. And she could just ask for her release. I mean, that's always possible. I'm sure I would imagine she wants to leave anyways, because she wants to be with Alberto, Del Rio, and he's in Impact right now. So I could see her showing up there, actually. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. But I could also see, Vince, instead of firing anyone, he could just tell the New Day, tell them to make jokes about it, make subtle references about the whole situation as a way to play it off and to joke it off. That's something that Vince McMahon would do. That's classic Vince McMahon for him to do something like that. So no, I don't think she should be fired or she will get fired. Anybody, I don't think her or Xavier will. I think something needs to be done as far as Paige goes, and involving that NXT women's title. I don't know what the appropriate punishment would be, though. Maybe just a fine. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see how this whole thing plays out and goes down. No pun intended. And then you got Alberto Del Rio. I mean, this guy, he's probably hating life to the fullest right now because everyone's seen his woman having sex with Brad Maddox and Xavier Woods at the same time. So, I don't know. This guy has got to be hating life to the fullest. Someone brought up on Twitter a good point. I think more than anything, I mean, everybody has a past. Obviously, it's not an issue. But someone mentioned on Twitter how he's probably pissed off more because Paige still has these videos and photos of stuff that she's done in the past. I mean, what's the point of keeping that stuff if you're in such a serious and loving relationship with Alberto? I mean, why would you need to keep that stuff? And I mean, I'd be questioning is like, why are you holding on to this stuff? We're together, so what's the point? So yeah, Alberto Del Rio, it sucks to be you, brother.